All right. It looks like it's working. You let me know, Lars. Okay? Please? Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I never know. It's echoing. It's crazy. I don't know. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about continuing on from yesterday's darshan. Yeah, a lot of people didn't attend it, but a lot of people did. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about the harmonic relationship that happens with helping to heal the planet that is unhealthy, that is going through a lot of process. Imagine that you drill a lot, and you do things in middle America and all over the countries, and it's starting to have problems with the plates, the underground plates, and earthquakes are taking place where they never took place before, and weather conditions are worse, which are directly involved with the same situation that is involved with the earthquakes. And so the influences, of the unhealthy aspect of the planet has a lot to do with potential dangers that could be expressed into humanity that are really pretty unnecessary. A lot of toxic waste, a lot of things will come out of the water in waterways from the drilling that went on and all the different fracking that has taken place. All of that uses toxic water and drudge and things of that nature to force this action to take place, and that's pushed into the rocks. And after many years, this settles into the drinking water. It settles into the farm water. It settles into the system. And it's extremely toxic. It's not something that would have naturally come up and gotten into the system. So it was very much added in very large ways in areas that are quite often start off in farming communities, but that then bleeds off into the local community and into the towns and into probably even cities. So that's a lot of danger. That's a lot of toxicity that'll go for generations after generations into people, and we really won't know the outcome of the health hazard. And that'll really slow us down when it comes down to our ability soulfully to have a life that we are here meant to have. So there are ways to raise the consciousness inside of humanity, to move humanity in such a way that they become consciously aware of the wrongdoings that have taken place. People who signed the contracts, people who sold their farms out, local neighbors, things of that nature, where it just didn't have an understanding at the time, but that has passed. That understanding is deep. And there are very few who don't know the truth. No matter where you're at, no matter what country you're in, when this sort of thing has taken place and you give many years to it, the outcome is that society can't be bought. They can't be conned, only for a short period of time. And then revelation comes in, and no denial. It just takes time. But if things aren't dealt with properly, then it takes too much time. And there a lot of inertia. A lot of the purpose of the Dark Lodge is to allow that inertia, that time, to be very slow and very, a lot of things to come up to keep it from taking place. Laws and purchase of land and all different types of things. So it's consciousness that is the one thing that can make the major change in the process of how this is going to move through the future, and into humanity. So by raising the level of consciousness in the United States and utilizing certain areas, like we go to Nepal, we go to India, we go to Glastonbury, come here to this area, I go to Hawaii, and influence those areas, the influence of the earth, that are very sacred in those areas. They have very strong, either volcanic or strong nature, psychic influences that has to do with love. Yeah, has to do with balance. Yeah, yeah. And so those areas, just by being in those areas, fostering, there's no monastic reality going on yet. Yeah. But just by the fact that I'm physically incarnated and I'm allowed enough freedom to move about and give my time and energy, because that's what I'm here for. I'm not here for other things. I'm here, to impress my beingness for periods of time in places so that the world could be saved from what's going to take place, that no one can see it. No one knows any of it. Yeah, it's going to take a very long time for it to unravel. Yeah, and it's way too late. Yeah. So my work is to influence that consciousness so that we can be moved in those specific zones, the places that I go. Yeah, those areas that I go, you'll find to be the most advanced, ecological, moving, soulful people that are taking care of the poor, that are taking care of how to deal with, the transition between illegal marijuana and legal marijuana and all the different things that really are happening but need to happen quickly, smoothly, and honestly. Yeah? And in doing that, it changes the karmic relationship on a massive level amongst hundreds and maybe millions of people, because small zone people who are in a sacred space, who are reincarnated to be in that space and have been moved about to be to those spaces, give light back due to their reincarnations. So I further that, because I'm the planetary logos, and I am the logos for all over this planet. Not any one location, not any for one group or for any purpose other than this that I'm saying. I am a geomancer. Yeah, I serve this planet as a geomancer. Yeah, yeah. I am moved, and I have to be moved so that we could be moved to have monasteries. Because by me going to these places, yeah, and it's a very big struggle for me to be in my place, in my time, in my position, doing what I do, without it being anything to do with personality. It has to do with what I'm saying right now. Yeah. And in doing that, I activate a future. That in that future, the people who are in those places will be risen up. And they will build monasteries. Yeah. And they will build and do all kinds of things that will be archetypal for the rest of humanity in a very natural way. Yeah. And I'll be known there. Yeah. My way of being, my building a monastery here, yeah, that's definitely going to be known as time goes on. Yeah, and being in Nepal, every place that I go to is going to show signs of Christ, by the influence of my presence. Not because I'm on the planet, it's because I go about places on the planet in order to heal certain zones of the planet that I and I alone know what they do and how and why they can heal the planet. It's not because of people. It's because of the planet. Does that make sense? The plants, the animals, I can talk to them, I can feel them, yeah? I can adjust things, yeah? I can make them feel that it's going to be okay, yeah? People will change, yeah? As a representative, I do that, yeah? And I can calm down what is going on, and it could be transmuted in very magical ways by you awakening to the reality of how to detoxify toxicity. Yeah, there are certain plants, there are certain natural ways that we can detoxify this planet. Yeah, but first we got to raise our consciousness into the ability to seek and find and do. Yeah, and I'm not here to say we do this and we do that and we do this. I'm here to provide consciousness. Yeah, and me being active, getting out and going places and doing what I need to do. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, because I'm only interested in building monasteries. That's it. And it's not about me being a guru in all these monasteries. It's about your souls and your present problems that you have, doing as I'm saying we're all going to do. It's going to solve all those problems. Yeah, we're going to have a life that is good, and we're going to cherish it, and we're going to live very long lives, and we're going to raise everybody up, and we're going to care, and we're going to share, and we're not going to be fanatical or idealistic. We're going to be normal, really, really normal. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah, yeah. You know, so, but it's really a matter of me being a geomancer. Look around me. Look at what I do. Look at all the tools you have. Yeah, you have those. Your teacher is a geomancer. Yeah, God's a geomancer. This whole thing is geomancy. Yeah, but in Shambhala, it's all about geomancy. Yeah, you know, so for me to make the difference here, I need to actively activate Shambhala and not be so. You know, everybody's interested in hierarchy or interested in this or that, but I'm actually only interested in the embodiment of God's creation, which is called Shambhala. Yeah, and it's not a place; it's the mind of God. It's God creation. It's the outcome. Under the free will of God, it's the outcome. Yeah, and we call it Shambhala. Yeah, it's physical heaven on earth with God's will in action. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah, you know, so it's not a utopia. It's hard work. Yeah, but it's hope. Yeah, it's hope. Yeah, it's not like, you know, it's going to happen. Bam, that's the way it is. Yeah, but it is the process of the fact that geomancy is how it happens. Yeah, so it does elevate through a force of magic. Yeah. So geomancy has to do with being moved, yeah, being moved from one place to another. So I'm going to show you a process about who actually came to America first. Yeah, Buddhists, you know, were the first ones to find America, and they found America by having direct telepathy with this location with these Pomo Indians. Yeah, I'll show it to you. It's kind of cool.
The Pit River Indians and the Pomo Indian tribal group of northwestern California have an ancient myth or legend or folklore that talks about a giant bridge which went from this area across the ocean to another race of people who they felt or thought or believed were Indians, but their skin color was different. It was more yellowish. And the way the old legend goes is the world was purified by water and everything on earth was destroyed. And many of the high priests and religious leaders knew this was going to happen, so they gathered the people together and they moved up high to the high tops of the mountains. And while they were up there, some of the visionaries or prophets began to see another race of people who looked like Indians but were yellow-skinned. So somehow or other, you might call it mental telepathy, they started to build a bridge from this part of the continent, while that other race of people started to build a bridge from the other continent. And somewhere in the middle of the ocean, they linked up together and they communicated with each other. And what really signaled all of this was the rainbow. As the yellow race of people left and they were going back, a rainbow came up. And they said, someday this physical bridge will be gone, but remember us, our brother, because the rainbow will always be there.
The story was that they found a part of Chinese junk along the coast near Tillamook, Oregon. And so they had the divers go down, and they did find that it was old. So they figured that.
So the two locations that they found Buddhists that first came to America was Pomo Indians here, yeah, which drew them to America, yeah, and then once they got here, they landed in Tillamook. Isn't that a trip? Yeah, and they made their way down to here, yeah, and they made their way all the way to.
The Chinese came over, got caught in a storm, probably all perished, or Maybe some of them swam ashore, and they say that some of those Chinese must have survived, and then they went inland, and there was Indians, living all around the coast there, that they intermarried there because some of the Indians from certain parts of Oregon or Planetary.
Some believe this may have been brought about by contact from China. The Buddhist religion was flourishing in China in the 6th century. In a monastery in Shenxi province, these statues stand guard over the records of Buddhist history. We learned from these stone tablets that in 570 AD, several monks set sail across the Great Sea to seek new converts to the Buddhist faith. The official account of their voyage states that the monk Hu Shen and his companions, sailing eastward, came upon the shores of a strange, faraway land. The distance logged was 20,000 leagues, or about 7,000 nautical miles. This would place them on the coast of Southern California. The account does not record their feelings as they cautiously entered a strange new land, only that they made their way inland through forests, across mountains and deserts for 350 miles. At last, they stood on the rim of a great canyon, banded with many colors. Could they have been describing the Grand Canyon? The account continues that at the bottom of the canyon, far below, there was a river winding among boulders.
This is something an explorer from the Smithsonian Institute back in the early 1900s came across a cave in the Grand Canyon, and inside of it is these great big statues of Buddha, along with a lot of relics and everything from Egypt, showing the pyramid and all obelisk and all this kind of stuff. So it has in it, this is, from what they can tell, this would be right around that time, and the whole complex is nearly a mile inside. It's extremely big. So the story goes on with this monk. He goes on, sees what he sees, and then when he does return, he tells the emperor who sends him off. The emperor gets so excited that he sends a lot of ships and a lot of other monks and everybody else to come. And this is what's left over from it. Kind of neat. There. So that's a little bit on location. There's a lot. Every area has its identifying frequency, and it's not about like things you could see, or a magnetic field you could feel or something like that. It has to do with just holiness, and holiness is rare. It's not found everywhere. It's found in extremely rare sacred places. Some places are just not at all holy. They're very stagnant and very dangerous and very toxic and very, so many different things throughout the world, could be environmentally in every way, not exactly the healthiest place for you to be. But a holy place is divinely related to the chakras of the planet. It's just like having the influence of a person who has their chakras aligned, and things are very wise and clear, and they're loving, and all the nature quality is there exhibiting. And the same thing happens in the earth, but it expresses outwardly, and it expresses inside of plants and inside of rock and inside of people. If you go there, it'll get inside you. Yeah? And it could very much affect the process of your soulful awakening, yeah, quickening, yeah, that process, yeah, because we're the same as this earth, yeah. We can't really disconnect ourselves, yeah. The thing is that we don't know about pilgrimage. We don't know about sacred sites. We don't know that this is a holy day every day. We don't know any of this. Yeah, it's not like it's been lost. It's been misused. Yeah, and abused. Yeah, and we're just coming into this. Humanity is just coming into this. Yeah, and it's not a religious or a paranormal thing. Yeah, it's a very easy understood scenario, you know. It just includes meditation. It just includes making an offering, you know. When you go, you stay clean, you know. You keep it clean, you know. You enter in clean, you exit clean, you know. You make no damage whatsoever, you know. You don't go in with a pickup truck, you know. It's, you know, you do as much as you can to keep everything as subtle and as simple and only providing what it needs to provide. Yeah, you know, so sacred spaces actually can move the whole of the planet. So in real good sacred spaces should be a place of meditation. It should be immediately offered over for the planet to receive back, you know, all the blessings that it's putting out. Yeah. And you put a pyramid there, and you offer mysoul therapy, and you do that. That's its purpose. Yeah, you do the same in your house. You do the same in your business. You do the same for yourself. But as a geomancer, you know, I have been doing this sort of thing, you know, for a very long time. Yeah, and then I've stepped it down to explain the aspects of soul therapy and, you know, how this could work with you and all this kind of stuff. But in all reality, all I really do is geomancy, you know, and I know that, you know, I am sacred, just like this earth, and I'm a one of a kind, yeah. And this is a triggering, you know. It's just like I said to you know, Shamar Rinpoche, you know, that I activate, you know, I create a process where I recapitulate, and that divinity that was awakened by me. Yeah. So when I'm allowed to go back into that process, that is then recapitulated. Yeah. And if I could do that in as many of the places where I've been, do that in one lifetime, yeah, then I reawaken, activate, you know, stabilize an enormous grid, an enormous sacred grid, you know, that sits on this planet. And it only requires, you know, a very extremely small percentage of that grid to be activated for it, the whole thing to be activated. Yeah, it only requires a small. It's got to be in the right place. It's got to be on the right time. It's got to be the right person. You know, and it's really quite an awesome process, like a movie. Yeah, but it's geomancy. Yeah, and it's the process of the activity of being able to transfer. You know, like if I go to Nepal, my relationship of sitting on the throne seat and giving teachings and receiving honors that I do there, yeah, is something that directly affects the relationship of extremely negative dark forces. Yeah, because if you go there, you'll find that that's a place where Padmasambhava went in order to battle demons, really big ass demons. Yeah, and struggled for a very long time fighting those demons. You know, and didn't take every single one of them out, but took it all every time one came in and one was to be dealt with. It was dealt with. Yeah, but the whole earth, the divinity of a place, demons attack. Yeah, wherever there's divinity. Yeah, I can go to Glastonbury. You know. Yeah. This place here is an awakening of spirituality. Yeah. So there's nothing is bothering it. Yeah. It's not re-establishing a recapitulation from anything from the past. Yeah. It's a holy place, and it's being anointed that way as a holy place, and very much, innocent as it is. Yeah. All the people that used to be here, all the life that existed here, all of that carries an offering to it that has to do with the relationship of how the elements settle inside of a human being and make people happy and peaceful, and not change just because of hostility, just because of aggression, building up as though it's our nature to be that way. Yeah, where we could see that it's not the nature of hostility in these people, in the life that they've lived, if you study their past. Yeah. So all that energy comes back through in geomancy. Yeah. It comes back up, and it heals the process where struggles like civil wars, struggles like the relationship between men and women, human rights, how we treated children during a certain cycle of time, for slavery, for job slavery, from the different types of persecution and things that humanity has done, created in peril, every single cycle of it. Yeah. So all of that is reduced through geomancy. Yeah. All of it. Yeah. It's not done by the Pope doing anything. Geomancy changes the Pope, and the Pope is part of the problem. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's much more about the monad and the process of how the Christ works as a geomancer, is the process of planetary healing. So that's why when I do soul therapy and show soul therapy, it's totally based on geomancy and applied geomancy and how spontaneously we interact with divinity. Yeah, we don't have an intellect. We don't have to know anything. We just spontaneously respond. Yeah. And it's very neutral, very calming, and very quiet. It's not, something that is aggressive, because it's not on a hard ray. It's on a soft ray. Yeah? Geomancy leads everything into the heart. So that, imagine there's a yin and yang. Yeah? Well, geomancy is the center point of that yin and yang. Yeah? Where there's no yin and yang. Yeah? It's just a dot. Yeah? And it's an illusion that you're seeing yin and yang. You're making yin and yang. Yeah? Does it make sense? It's not there. Yeah? So it's that fixes it. The monad. The dot. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? Because below that is a soul. And the soul is the difficulty between personality and soul. That's yin and yang. Does that make sense? Yeah? So those don't really matter. They don't really exist. Yeah, everything's made by the monad, but you figure that out when when everything is relaxed. Does that make sense? Because you're changing from a hard ray, to a soft ray, and you're flipping from the sixth ray to the second ray. So everything from what used to be hard now is second ray. What used to be sixth ray now is second ray. Yeah. So everything in transition becomes geomancy. Yeah? That's why when you talk about geometric forms like this, and you put them all together and they apply like an Adam's Earth, like that, it is a part of the geomancy, the fact that everything connects together. Even though you're looking at an octahedron, you're not. You're looking at this very complicated form. And the octahedron you can't even see now. Is actually in the octahedron that you're simply looking at. Does that make sense? Yeah? So there's many dimensions, multi-dimensional reality. Yeah? Each one has a consciousness. Does that make sense? Yeah? That's what geomancy brings. It's not a teaching of intellectuality in God and machine, because you're never going to figure this out. Does that make sense? Yeah? Because it's really not about figuring it out. It's about understanding. Yeah. Does that make sense? You know, because it's a whole lot easier if you just do that. You know, it will solve all my problems. Really will, because there's a whole lot of children out there don't deserve the situation. So let's meditate, please. Okay. I'm gonna do the invocation. Okay, just close your eyes and relax. Okay, just repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad.
I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad.
To guide me into the right into the right activity in the plan. To clarify and stimulate my mind. To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions. To energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body. So there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I am a messenger of light. I am a pilgrim on the way of love. I do not walk alone, but I know myself as one with all great souls, and one with them in service. Their strength is mine. This strength I claim. My strength is theirs, and this I freely give. A soul, I walk on earth. I represent the One. past has gone. I am that past. It makes me what I am. The future comes. I also am the coming destiny, and therefore I am that. The present flows from out the past. The future colors that which is. I make the future also by my present knowledge of the past and the beauty of the present, and therefore I am that I am. Within the circle of the will of God I stand. Without the radius of the world of glamour I take my place. And there I stand. Before the open door that just reveals a different lighted way, I take my stand. Before the presence, I will take my place, and there will firmly stand. And stand I see. Love is the incentive of our aspiration on the path. Love is the substance of our living in the world. Love is the light and the light of freedom from all creatures. Love pulses through the universe in a divine rhythm. Love is the consciousness of God. May the holy ones whose disciple I am show me the light I seek. May all mankind, may all humanity of all knowledge, may all light on earth make manifest the soul in all things, all life. I invoke the radiant golden sun to manifest the thread of the soul into the kingdoms of the elementals, into the kingdoms of the vegetables, the animals, into the astral plane. I invoke all humanity to become the caretakers of the kingdom of God. I invoke the will of God as the soul. I stand before the judgment seat of my soul. I am that soul. All love and light am I. I serve the world and lose myself in service. This is my life, and this is the way that I will tread until the day be with us all. Of energy within themselves, inaugurating certain new techniques in work and in modes of communication. I invoke the group of telepathic communicators. I invoke the group of trained observers. I invoke the group of magnetic healers. I invoke the group of the educators of this new age. I invoke the group of political organizers. I invoke the group of the workers in the field of religion. I invoke the group of scientific servers. I invoke the group of psychologists. I invoke the group of financiers and economists. I invoke all creative workers as the new group. I invoke the externalization of the inner existing of conditions within these groups through the manifestation and the externalization of the avatar. This moment until the heart of enlightenment is reached. I and all sentient beings as limitless as the sky go for refuge to all the glorious holy lamas. We go for refuge to all the yidams, the deities gathered in the mandalas. We go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who have conquered and gone beyond. We go for refuge to all the supreme dharma. We go for refuge to all the noble sangha. We go for refuge to all the dakas, dakinis, protectors and defenders of the dharma, who possess the eye of transcending awareness. We go for refuge to all the glorious holy lamas. We go for refuge to all the yidams, the deities who gather in the mandalas. We go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who have conquered and gone beyond. We go for refuge to all the supreme dharma. We go for refuge to all the noble sangha. We go for refuge to all the dakas, dakinis, protectors and defenders of the dharma who possess the eye of transcending awareness. We go for refuge to all the glorious holy lamas. We go for refuge to all the yidams, the deities gathered in the mandalas. We go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who have conquered and gone beyond. We go for refuge to all the supreme dharma. We go for refuge to all the noble sangha. We go for refuge to all the dakas, dakinis, protectors, and defenders of the dharma, who possess the eye of transcending awareness. To the Buddhas, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, I go for refuge until enlightenment. May I, through merit gained by gifts and so on, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly, I go for refuge until enlightenment. May I, through merit gained by gifts and so on, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. To the Buddhas, the Dhamma, the Supreme Assembly, I go for refuge until enlightenment. May I, through merit gained by gifts and so on, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. On the crown of my head, and all sentient beings pervading space, there rests a white lotus and a moonseed. From Hri appears the noble, all-seeing one, white, bright, and radiating 5 colored light rays, smiling charmingly and gazing with eyes of compassion. He has 4 arms, the upper 2 joined together, the lower 2 holding a white lotus and crystal rosary. He is adorned by precious jewels and silks. A deerskin covers his upper left shoulder. The Buddha, a boundless light, adorns his head. He sits in the Vajrasana. His back is supported by a stainless moon. He is the essence of all sources of refuge. Lord, whose white body is not clothed by fault, whose head is adorned by a perfect Buddha, who looks upon all beings with eyes of compassion. To you, Chenrezi, I pay homage. Lord, whose white body is not clothed by fault, whose head is adorned by a perfect Buddha, who looks upon all beings with eyes of compassion. To you, Chenrezi, I pay homage. Lord, whose white body is not clothed by fault, whose head is adorned by a perfect Buddha, who looks upon all beings with eyes of compassion. To you, Chenrezi, I pay homage. To the Sublime One, the mighty Chenrezi, to the Buddhas and their sons, who reside in the 10 directions and the 3 times, with complete sincerity I pay homage. I offer flowers, incense, butter lamps, perfume, food, music, and other real and imaginary offerings, and so on. In and beseech the noble assembly to accept them. I confess all the unskillful actions caused by the power of conflicting emotions, and the 10 unvirtuous deeds, and the 5 sins of limitless consequence done from beginningless time until now. I rejoice in the spiritual merit of whatever virtue of the Svarvakas, Pratrika Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and ordinary beings gathered throughout the 3 times. I pray that the Dharma wheel of the Mahayana, the Hinayana, and of the teachings common to both be turned in accordance with the wishes and the aptitudes of all beings. I beseech the Buddhas not to pass into nirvana, as long as samsara is not emptied, but to look with compassion upon sentient beings who wallow in the ocean of suffering. May whatever merit I have accumulated be the cause for the enlightenment of all beings. May I quickly become a splendid leader of beings. I pray to you, Lama Chenrezig. I pray to you, Yidam Chenrezig. I pray to you, Perfect Noble Chenrezig. I pray to you, Lord Protector Chenrezig. I pray to you, Lord of Love Chenrezig. Great compassionate Victor, please hold us with your compassion. Numberless beings who wander in endless samsara experience unbearable suffering. There is no other refuge than you, Protector. Please bestow the blessings to obtain omniscient Buddhahood. By our power of accumulating negative karma from beginningless time, sentient beings through the force of anger are born as hell beings and experience the suffer of heat and cold. May they all be born in your presence, perfect deity. By the power of accumulating negative karma from beginningless time, sentient beings, through the force of greed, are born in the realms of the Pretas and experience the suffering of hunger and thirst. May they all be born in your perfect realm, the Potala. By the power of accumulating negative karma from beginningless time, sentient beings, through the force of stupidity, are born as animals and experience the suffering of dullness and stupidity. May they all be born in your presence, Protector. By the power of accumulating negative karma from beginningless time, sentient beings, through the force of desire, are born in the human realm and experience the suffering of excessive activity and constant frustration. May they all be born in the pure land of Dewachen. Om Mani Padme. By the power of accumulating negative karma from beginningless time, sentient beings, through the force of jealousy, are born in the realm of the demigods and experience the suffering of fighting and quarreling. May they all be born in your realm, the Potala. By the power of accumulated negative karma from beginningless time, sentient beings, through the force of pride, are born in the realm of the gods and experience the suffering of change and falling. May they all be born in your realm, the Potala. Wherever I am born, may my deeds, by equaling Chenrez's, liberate all beings from impure realms, and spread the perfect sound of the 6 syllables in the 10 directions. Through the power of praying to you, perfect noble one, may all beings who I am to discipline pay the greatest attention to action and result, and diligently practice virtue and the dharma for the benefit of all beings. Through this one-pointed prayer, light radiates from the body of the Sublime One and purifies the impure karma, impure appearances, and the deluded mind. The outer realm is the pure land of Dewa Chen, and the body, the speech, the mind of the beings therein are the perfect form, the sublime speech, and the pure mind of mighty Chenrezi. The invisible union of appearance, sound, and vivid intelligence with voidness. My body, the bodies of others, and all appearances are the perfect form of the Sublime One. All sounds the melody of the 6 syllables. All thoughts the vastness of the great Shana. Through this virtue, may I quickly achieve the realization of mighty Chenrezi. May I bring every single being to that same state of being. Through the merit of reciting and meditating, may I and every being to whom I am connected, when these imperfect forms are left behind, be miraculously born in Dewa Chen. And may I then immediately cross the 10 levels and send out the emanations in the 10 directions for the benefit of all others. Through this virtue, may all beings perfect the accumulations of spiritual merit and awareness. May they attain the 2 supreme bodies, which arise from merit and awareness. Bodhisattva is precious. May it arise in those who have cultivated it, and in those who have cultivated it, may it not diminish. May it ever grow, and may it ever flourish.
Okay, just relax. Take it easy. That's a little ditty. Imagine that was played back during Pythagoras' time. Isn't that cool? Okay, now I'm going to play a drum, and then that's going to be it. Energy is moved by vibration and waves. Yeah? Consciousness is moved through vibration and waves. Yeah? So, like, everything that I'm playing is a song, but it has consciousness to it, and it's actually just the elevated state of bliss that's inside of me. But that and all the consciousness that I have inside of me comes with it. Yeah? So you can get whatever you want. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? Yeah? Yeah. All right. There. That was drum. Okay, so that's it for tonight. I'm not going to say any more. Thank you very much for attending. Yeah, yeah. The only other thing I wanted to say, yeah, the thing about geomancy is that it's the job of the planetary logos. Yeah, it's not something that you teach someone to do. Yeah, it's not something like when I sit on a throne seat. There could be 100,000 masters, yeah, and every single one of them is only in revelation. It's not that they're there, make it possible for me to be there, yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. It just grows. It just is what it is, yeah. But that isn't what makes this, yeah. So I'm not like it's got to be like that, yeah. It's not. It is already like that. Yeah, it's just in a different way. Yeah, so that's why I apply what I do. I do geomancy because I know that it is this way. Yeah, in everybody. It's just that they're very far from it, and they need to wake up. And until they wake up, it won't happen. It's not possible. Yeah. So the process is geomancy in order to apply divinity that then wakes up saints, and that applies me being planetary logos, being able to sit on a throne seat that I'm supposed to be sitting on, along with an infinite number of masters of wisdom that can sit on their throne seats. Yeah, and none of them under delusions of grandeur of thinking that they have anything to do with me sitting on my throne seat. That makes sense? Yeah, because that would keep me from being on my seat. I wouldn't be their teacher. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah, because, it's not all about me, it's all about God. And it's a singularity reality, and it's a one God reality, So and then again, it's sharing. Yeah. So it's not, some sixth rate thing. Make sense? It's just called the hierarchy. Yeah? All right. Okay. Enjoy.